What is up, Sopranos fans? Kino here, and I am back with another day of Sopranos Timber. Today we're looking at the 10th episode of Season 6, Mo and Joe. Now, Janice goes to talk to Tony about her husband, and she complains about the fact that, Tony mocks Bobby, he keeps him in a lower position, and she says it's because he secretly hates her. He resents the fact that he was shot and blames her family for his suffering. Tony denies this, but later at his therapy session with Melfi, he admits that he does love to cause her pain. He resents her for the fact that she left home and left him alone to deal with their mother all these years. And he feels that because he endured all of that, because he suffered, he deserves everything and Janice deserves nothing. And so he looks for any opportunity he can to kind of put her down. Later on, Bobby is attacked by some hoodlums and his eye gets damaged pretty badly. And Tony ends up pretty much laughing at his pain. He just loves to enjoy the suffering of people, he doesn't like or even associated with people he doesn't like. Meanwhile, Johnny Sack's trial is coming up and the feds have discovered all of his money. They found it all and they've frozen his assets. So his family is really struggling right now with no access to their financials. Johnny is a silent partner in this business down in Louisiana, and he sends his brother-in-law, Anthony, to talk to Tony and convince him to force the partners of the business to sell so that he can get his half and he can provide the money to Ginny so that she doesn't have this liquidity problem. Tony decides that he actually does want to do something nice for Janice after all, and Janice loves the Sacramone house. She's always wanted to live in a house like that, and Tony knows that John is in this weak position. So he forces John to sell the house to Janice in exchange for facilitating the deal. John pretty much has no other options, so he's forced to agree. And Janice and her family end up getting the house. Meanwhile, Carmela asks Tony to, again, lean on the building inspector so that her stop work order is cleared and she can go back to constructing her spec house. Tony agrees, but after seeing how Carmela neglects the housework and all her wifely responsibilities, he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore. There's this funny scene where Meadow is basically crying to Tony about her relationship, and Tony just wishes Carmela was there to deal with it instead of him. So he decides he's not going to talk to the building inspector and goes so far as to even lie to Carmela and tell her that he was unsuccessful and tries to convince her that they should sell the property and just move on from this project. Meanwhile, John's lawyer negotiates a deal with the prosecutor. The deal is that he will serve 15 years and give up $4 million of his assets. And as part of the deal, he has to admit that he was part of the mafia. Now, John doesn't want to do this because this is technically against the rules for him to talk about the life to outsiders like this. But he pretty much has no choice. It's either this or go to trial. And if he goes to trial, he risks being sent to prison for the rest of his life. So he reluctantly allocutes in court and confesses that he was a part of the mafia. And his admission angers his fellow mobsters, including Phil, who feel that he shouldn't have said anything and he should have stood trial like a man. Phil did 20 years rather than make a deal, which I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the fact that he did serve prison time before the series started. It's a very obscure detail, but we can see it in a couple of episodes. Meanwhile, Vito is still in New Hampshire. He's now in a relationship with Jim. They're living together in the same house, and he says that he loves him. However, he is running out of money, and he really misses his old life. He misses his family, and he misses the glamour of being a mobster. Eventually, he reveals to Jim who he really is, the fact that he's from New Jersey, he has a wife and kids. And Jim accepts him and tries to find him work as a construction worker so that Vito can have some money. However, even though Vito was a contractor back in season 2 and does have experience with this, because of the fact that he was a captain and he tasted the good life, he really can't stand doing manual labor anymore. And we get this really weird internal narration where Vito is kind of counting down the time until lunch. It's this really weird moment that we don't hear any other kind of internal narration throughout the series, aside from the pilot episode with Tony. So it really stands out here for no particular reason. I think it's part of these weird edits that The Sopranos was experimenting with throughout the series, but I don't really like it. Eventually, though, Vito decides to leave Jim. He packs up in the middle of the night and just takes off without saying anything, and he goes back home to his family. And on the way, he hits someone's car that's parked on the side of the road. And the man refuses to, take money for it. He wants to file a police report, and Vito can't have that. One, because he's a known mobster. I think he just doesn't want the police involved. But two, he doesn't want people to know where he's at or anything like that. So when the guy's back is turned, Vito shoots him in the back of the head. It's the same thing he did with Jackie Jr. in season 3. But this whole ordeal reminds us that Vito is still a scumbag. We've had a lot of episodes lately kind of exploring a different side to him, and we have sympathy for him. But we're reminded here that, no matter what's going on with him, he is still a cold-blooded murderer. And we'll see where that leads him next episode. But that is the episode Mo and Joe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next Soprano log coming tomorrow. On the 10th day of Sopranos timber, my Gumar gave to me 10 little Lord Fuckpins, 9 fishy ladies, 8 maids a cleaning, 7 ducks pool swimming, 6 seasons long, 5 onion rings, 4 calling cards, 3 French whores, 2 Tonys, and a Sopranos prequel movie. Special thank you to my patrons Hunter, Tommy Smith, Abdallah Alamari, George Jones, Russell, Sean, Graham, Rooftop, Rico Bellick, Heart of Markness, Broccoli, Isaiah, Placenta Juan, Logan, Clean, John Reyna, Lance Klump, Jesse Sterling, Andrew Stewart, James, Kachok Chofol, Obstacle Racing Media, Daz J. Kit, William Lanson, Johnny Two Hands, and AL Interpretations.